This is a production of Off the Hook Sports with Dave Hooker.
Love talking to my man, Cooper Mays. He is a fun dude, but I've got to take him down a sad path today because after the baseball team lost this weekend in heartbreaking fashion, we're going to talk about toughest losses that Cooper's been through. He's got one that stands out in high school, he's got one that stands out in college. I'm interested to see which of the Tennessee losses punched you in the gut the hardest. I'm not happy for it. I mean, I want Cooper to win every game, but I am interested in that aspect of it and that reaction. It's all brought to you by City Heating and Air Conditioning. They provide the East Tennesseans with honest, dependable heating and cooling service since 1961. City Heating and Air Conditioning has been the standard of quality HVAC installation and service. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people out there that'll say, we'll come to your house, we'll do this, we'll do it for 35, 20 bucks, whatever it may be. But you want it done right. We don't want to sweat and we don't want to freeze to death, do we, Cooper?
No, not me. Not me.
No. So City Heat and Air. All right, Coop. First of all, let's get rolling here. Did you happen to watch much of the baseball series over the week? I know you're out of town.
Yeah, I ended up watching every single game, either on my phone or whatever. But pretty disappointing for sure.
Yeah, it was, and yeah, it's something that we're going to go ahead and get out of the way now because we're not about to talk about this in football season. I've already predicted an undefeated season because I like you and Jacob so much that I want good things to happen to my friends, basically. So let's talk about a tough loss. What's the key as a competitor to putting a tough loss behind you as soon as you can?
I think everything you kind of got to do if you're at a high level in sports. I think you got to have like a mentality where you can kind of just say like snap, clear mentality. I think it's like what people say in football, but so like you may do something wrong on one snap, and then you just got to clear it. So like one thing bad can happen, but you got to clear it out of your mind, get back to the next play. So probably just going from week to week. Every week is a different task. So just focus on your job, priority at hand.
Did you learn that over time, or when you're younger, did it take a while?
I'd say probably when I got to college. I probably didn't learn that as much in high school because the biggest losses I took usually came in like the playoffs. So your season was over after that, so you couldn't really get over it. You kind of just think about it all off season.
Well, and there's the off season, and how long does it take when you're in a playoff situation like Tennessee's baseball team was over the weekend? How long does it take to kind of settle in? Because they're used to waking up on Monday morning and getting ready to go practice.
Yeah, it'll take a while, I'm sure, especially when you're like them. Like they're historically one of probably the best teams that have ever played like college baseball. So I don't think I've ever been on a team at that kind of echelon, like that upper echelon of teams. I've never been on that where so much was riding on the line. So I don't even know how long that would take. I'd say you think about it all off season until you get back to where you were. So that's probably what I would say.
Maybe getting drafted and being for some of these guys a multimillionaire will help. That can't hurt.
Yeah. That'll probably that clear mentality, that snap clear. That's probably clear your head pretty quick.
It's not snap clear, Coop. It's snap paid.
Snap paid and clear.
And snap clear paid. All right, your toughest loss. Let's go back to high school. You're a local guy. They're Catholic, so your toughest loss.
Yeah, my freshman year was probably the best year my high school had going up until that point, and then we ended up losing in the second round of the playoffs to Fulton High School. So that was probably, honestly, that's even up to date. That's probably the toughest loss of my career because we had just so much talent all over the field. Like it was Cade at left tackle, me, Brian Tucker was in the lineup. He went to Clemson. Chase Cunningham is starting quarterback at MTSU right now. Amari obviously is in the NFL, got picked second, third round. I don't remember which one it was. So Cade's in the NFL. Amari's in the NFL. That's two NFL players right there. And you got multiple guys that are, going to play big time football. So just to lose. And the worst part about it, really, now that I look back on it, is in the regular season, I think we put 700 yards of offense up on them, beat them by like think it was like 70 to 20 something, maybe that was the final score, something like that. We like broke the state record for offensive yards in a game. And then you just go out there in the playoffs, play them again, and then just kind of get shut down. That was probably the toughest loss of my career for sure.
How'd you get over it? I mean, what was that period like?
There wasn't really any getting over it, I would say. Till we basically like killed their whole program basically in the next few years. Like they went from like winning like three, I think they won like 3 in a row maybe, or they went to like 3 state championships in a row. I don't know if they won them all. I don't remember what it was. They were really good. And then by the time I was out of high school, they wouldn't play us anymore, and they were winning like 1 game a year. So that probably helped me get over it. But I was thinking about it all off season. That's all we talked about.
Wow. How much motivation is that for you, and will it be for the guys on the baseball team that are returning?
I'd say if you got, any type of,
character, backbone. I think I know what you were going to say.
Yeah. So if you got some of that too, it'll probably stick in your craw for a little bit. It'll probably, sit there poisoning you for a little bit. I don't know. I mean, it just depends on the guy, I guess.
All right, let's flip it to Tennessee. Most painful loss there.
Purdue. Definitely Purdue for me. We went out there and they were down a lot of guys. If you look at it, like if we played up to our potential versus how many guys they had missing, they had, key like starters missing. And we didn't go out there and get it done. So that was probably the most painful. When we played, like, I think the offense played like 114 plays. I'm sure the defensive guys played around the same mark. I mean, that was a grueling game. Played really hard, fought really hard, and then at the end of it just didn't go our way. That was rough.
Talking, of course, about the Music City Bowl, and it goes into overtime too. And did you sense? I mean, you said you played hard, but did you sense that that you might stumble against Purdue going in? How was the preparation heading into that game?
Preparation was good. Everything was up to normal, and I don't really know what happened. We just didn't get it done. I mean, sometimes it doesn't go your way. Sometimes the game is, there's such a fine line when you get to this level of football about what wins and loses games. Like marginal mistakes can turn into just big leaps and bounds of momentum and just points on the board. It's hard to get it back. So you can't mess up too much. And I feel like we just messed up too much, and I guess they did the right thing, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, but let's be fair here. There was a little bit of a controversial 4th down stop. I mean, does it make it worse when maybe it was not the best call in the world?
Yeah, I mean that definitely does not sit very well. But I honestly, if you like have asked me this whole time since then what I would think about the game, I never once like blamed the refs. That was never really I never really have blamed the refs for that loss. I don't know if anybody else has, but I feel as a team we shouldn't have let it get into the refs' hands. That's how I feel.
Interesting. A conversation with Cooper Mays is brought to you by City Heat and Air. Don't trust the others that say, "Hey, we'll just drop by for $35 and get you taken care of." Well, who knows if they'll show up? Who knows what they'll do to your unit? That's why City Heat and Air is absolutely the way to go. They're very easy to find if you want to go online. It is cityheatandair.com. City Heating and Air Conditioning. They are fantastic anywhere in Knoxville. So you said the officials, you don't put it on them, even though it was a very questionable call at the end, surging towards the end zone. Tennessee, you guys weren't able to get it in, if you believe the refs. But when I look back at some of your games, I wonder if there are any games that you do feel like the refs, because I'm not going to put words in your mouth, but I felt like over this weekend, the umpires wanted to put Tennessee, who's a very flamboyant team, in their place. I felt like Friday, there was an early warning in the 2nd inning. And I just wonder if you have ever gone out on the football field and thought, I don't think these officials really like me for some reason.
I mean, there's definitely there's definitely calls that I think are questionable throughout the season. there's going to be questionable calls every week. I feel like I don't know if I've ever really gone out there and thought like, oh, these refs are against me. I don't think I've ever really felt that way. But there's definitely been some questionable big time moments that just you're not really sure if what's going on in their mind. I'd say the Purdue call, that was pretty. I personally I thought it was a touchdown all the way in my heart. I was out there on the field looking at the jumbotron. I was looking at the jumbotron before they even 5 minutes before they called it not a touchdown. I was already basically celebrating. I was like congratulating Jalen Wright and everything. I was like, yeah, that's a touchdown.
Wow. So then the emotions are kind of twofold, I would think, because you thought you won.
I got changed up pretty quick for sure.
Yeah. I'm curious. We haven't had a chance to talk about Cade, your brother. How are things going for him now that he's made that step? And do you talk to him at all about the difference between college preparation and NFL preparation? What are you hearing from him?
Yeah, he's doing actually really good. He's had a really solid little bit that he's been there. I don't know. He's been there probably for like a month, a little bit of some change. I'm not really sure, but this is probably one of the best I've ever seen him as far as like mental state and like positivity. Like he just kind of told me the biggest difference between college and pros. It's not even the players and the talent level. The biggest thing is like it just goes from being like something that you do to like it's your job. Like that's your main focus. Like that's kind of like obviously it's not really something that you do in college, but like you can kind of say it that way. Like you got school, you got college, and then you got a lot of other stuff to worry about. But like when you get to the NFL, it's like make or break. Like it's your job. You don't have any time to have bad days. Like that doesn't ever really cross your mind. You got to go out there and you got to do your job.
Did you guys all watch the draft together as a family?
Yes, long. I've never watched that much of the draft, and that's a long time to sit there and just watch names roll by a screen. I can tell you that much.
Well, even before you and I started doing our thing here, I was thinking of your family and your dad, who I'm friends with, for those that don't know, and I saw Cade slipping, and I just felt for your family, and I wonder if you can kind of take me back to that room, what that was like, because he always looked to me like a top 3 round talent, and to see him go 6 was really, really surprising.
Yeah, definitely wasn't where we thought he was going to go based off the knowledge that we kind of heard, but stuff like that just happens. You see Trey Smith out there on a 6th round pick or 5th round or whatever he was, and he's already getting like Pro Bowl votes and everything. Just he had a really solid year. He's one of the best guards in the league coming up, as a rising guy. So you can't really think about stuff like that. I'm sure Cade's happy where he was and where he is now. I'm sure it probably stunk a little bit on the draft day and the couple of days that he was watching it. He definitely didn't enjoy that part of it. But you just got to kind of run with what you got, I feel like.
Yeah, and he is right over the hill. That's got to be good for your family, I would think as well,
No doubt.
to be nearby. When he finally was selected, was it just a relief? Like, let's go do something else and not stare at this stupid television any longer?
Yeah, basically. I mean, we definitely didn't watch any more of the draft after that. That's a long time to sit there and watch. I don't know if anybody in here has watched like the whole draft, but
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd.
I'm not a draft nerd or whatever. I've never watched more than probably the first 2 or 3. It was long.
What?
Long.
It used to be longer, believe it or not. It was absolutely just horrible. I was talking to a former NFL coach, and he was. I asked him about you guys and your offense, and he said, "No question, fastest in the nation." I mean, and he scouted all these teams. He said the next step in the evolution of the program, though, was to develop that 4-minute offense where you guys have the lead and you need to run some clock. And I just wonder how important that might be. Maybe not this year, but eventually to get there and get that 4-minute offense where you can chew a little clock.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely probably obviously with the offense we run, it's probably not the ideal situation, the 4-minute or whatever, but I think I trust the coaches a lot. They're very, very smart, very calculated. They know exactly what they're doing, especially with the system that they run. I mean, they're just masters at it. So I'm sure they've got a plan for all that and how to figure it out. But yeah, I could see where he's coming from. I agree.
Gotcha. How are back at it? How are lifts going? How's everybody looking? Anybody stand out to you?
Elijah Simmons, obviously, he's going to be the strongest guy in the room. So he's over here just throwing around crazy weight. I don't think anybody can really compete with that. So I probably have to go with him. But yeah, a whole group looks good. We're all working really hard, believing in what they're putting down. So we're just trying to run with it. That's all it is.
How strong is Elijah Simmons?
What's a good story? Well, I've seen him take maybe like 315 or 405. I don't remember which one it was on squat. I think it was 405. Pretty positive it was 405. And he just took it off the rack and just went. I think we had like a 25 rep max. Like if you could do 25 reps at 405 squat, like they just made you stop or maybe 20. But Big E went to like 30, like with no issue. Like he went up to about no 30s. He was going like strong. Like I'm talking about up, down, up. Like he was no fatigue there at all. And our coach got mad at him and made him rack it because he was like, when I tell you to rack it, you got to rack it. Like I was like, I thought it was pretty cool. But so obviously he could have done way more, but that's a pretty good story. So
that is an incredible. He did 405 put 30 times?
Yes.
What is the one rep? What does the one rep max turn out to on that? It's about the one rep max would be like 2,000 pounds.
Well, the one rep max, I could see him hitting upwards of like around 800. I could see him 700 to 800 in that range. I don't know. They don't let us. They wouldn't never let you go up that high because it's just there's no point in doing it. Like it's just a risk of injury at that point. So they wouldn't let us do it. But I could confidently say I would say that Big E can squat over 750 pounds. That's probably would be my guess.
Wow. That's an incredible number. I will tell you this. I got 185 on an incline the other day. How about that?
There you go. Hey, hey, that's probably what I'd about do, honestly.
That is not true. You would come in and embarrass me, and everybody be making fun of me. I'm like, sorry.
That's how it's supposed to be, though.
That's right. You're young. I'm old. You're strong. I'm not.
Spry.
Yeah. I'm old and spry or something. Great stuff as always. Again, I want to thank our friends at City Heating and Air Conditioning. Again, they're real people and they do really, really good quality work that you're not going to find elsewhere. I mean, it's just that simple. You can see all the billboards and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, we're talking about City Heating and Air Conditioning is where you need to go to get your service or to get installation, whatever you need. That's City Heating and Air. He is Cooper Mays. I'm Dave Hooker. Have a fantastic week. This has been a production of Off the Hook Sports.